Once upon a time, long before humans roamed the earth, the world was a place of wonders and mysteries. Vast landscapes were filled with lush forests, towering mountains, sparkling rivers, and deep oceans. But this earth was not empty. It was ruled by a race of beings known as Jinn. The Jinn were not like humans. They were made of smokeless fire and possessed great powers. They could change shape, move swiftly, and even become invisible. Their kingdom was vibrant, full of cities built from shimmering crystals and vibrant colors that danced under the light of two suns, one golden and bright, and the other a soft blue, casting gentle shadows. Among these Jinn was a brave young Jinn named Zaid. He was curious and loved to explore the mysteries of their world. Unlike many of his fellow Jinn, who prefer to stay within their cities, Zaid ventured into the wild places, fascinated by the whispers of ancient spirits and the secrets hidden in the mountains. One day, while exploring a deep, moss-covered cave, Zaid found a hidden chamber. At its center lay a glowing orb, pulsating with energy. He approached it cautiously, feeling a strange force drawing him closer. As he reached out to touch the orb, it burst into 1,000 glimmering lights, and he found himself in a vision of the past. In that moment, Zaid saw the Jinn's history. A long time ago, they had dominated the earth, creating beautiful cities and living in harmony with nature. But as time passed, some Jinn grew greedy and power-hungry. They began to argue and fight among themselves. The more they sought power, the more their world changed. They polluted the rivers, burned the forests, and turned the vibrant land into a wasteland. The wise elders of the Jinn, who saw the destruction caused by their own kind, gathered to discuss what could be done. Among them was a powerful elder named Ulama. Ulama understood that balance was needed in the world. He proposed that a new creature, more humble and less powerful than the Jinn, be created. This creature would learn from the earth, take care of it, and live in harmony with nature. After much debate, the council agreed, and thus, humans were formed from clay and breathed life into by a powerful force. Zaid suddenly snapped back to reality, breathless. The vision had filled him with urgency. He realized the importance of sharing this knowledge with others. He rushed back to his city, seeking his closest friends, Amira, the wise Jinn who often gave him guidance, and Rahim, the strong and brave warrior. When Zaid found them, he explained what he had seen. "We must warn our people. We need to remember our past and take responsibility for our actions. Humans were created to learn from us, not to suffer because of our mistakes." Amira listened intently, her eyes wide with understanding. "Zaid, you are right. We must remind our people of our duty to the earth. If we do not help the humans, we will face consequences far worse than any battle." Rahim, who was known for his strength and bravery, nodded in agreement. "Let's gather the elders and share your vision. They will understand, and together we can form a plan." The three friends set off towards the great hall where the elders gathered. As they walked, they discussed what Zaid had seen. They realized that they needed to change their ways before it was too late. When they arrived at the hall, the elders were skeptical at first. The Jinn were proud of their power and felt little need to learn from a creature they had created. But Zaid, Amira, and Rahim told the story with passion. They spoke of the need for balance and the danger of ignoring the plight of humans. Ulama, the wise elder, listened carefully. "Perhaps there is truth in your words. We have lived too long in our own shadow, forgetting the consequences of our actions. If we do not act now, we risk losing not only the humans but ourselves as well." Finally, the elders decided to take action. They formed a council to oversee a new alliance with humans. Zaid, Amira, and Rahim were appointed to lead this mission. The trio traveled through forests, across mountains, and into human cities. At first, the humans were frightened when they saw the Jinn, but Zaid spoke to them with kindness. "We come in peace. We want to help you understand the earth and how to care for it," he said. Slowly, the humans began to listen. They learned from the Jinn about conserving water, protecting forests, and living in harmony with nature. Over years, the relationship between humans and Jinn strengthened. The Jinn learned humility, and humans found wisdom in their teachings. As time passed, a new era began. Together, they planted trees, cleaned rivers, and restored the earth. The vibrant landscapes of the Jinn returned, and in time, they genuinely became guardians of the earth. But one day, a division grew once more amongst a group of Jinn who sought to take power back from the humans. They believed the balance should be tipped in favor of the Jinn. Zayd and his friends felt the tension rising and knew they had to act. We must show them that being powerful is not the same as being wise. If we revert to our old ways, we will all pay the price, Zayd urged. The trio organized a grand gathering between humans and Jinn, where they shared stories of their journey, emphasizing the importance of unity. The skies shimmered with energy as they witnessed a hit of magic. Zayd stood tall, his voice echoing in the vast gathering. Together we have forged a new destiny. Let us choose the path of peace and responsibility. His words struck chords in the hearts of both Jinn and humans, pushing them to reconsider their ways. One by one, the undecided Jinn began to understand the beauty of living in harmony. Through perseverance and wisdom, Zayd, Amira, and Rahim created a lasting change. The earth flourished, and the bond between Jinn and humans became a story for centuries, reminding everyone of the balanced world they now called home. And thus, the tale of the Jinn became a lesson in cooperation and respect for all living things, sweet music carried on the winds of time. Together, they proved that through understanding and unity, even the oldest divisions could be healed. The earth thrived once again, and its rulers, both Jinn and humans, knew the importance of nurturing their world. Before humans walked the earth, when the land was young and the skies were wild, the Jinns ruled. They were beings of smokeless fire, powerful and capricious, with cities built of shimmering crystal and fortresses carved from the hearts of mountains. Their reign was one of magic and mystery, a time now lost to the whispers of the wind and the rustling of ancient leaves. Our story begins with Azar, a young Jinn of noble lineage, but a restless spirit. Unlike his kin, who reveled in their power and indulged in endless games of dominance, Azar yearned for something more. He spent his days exploring the vast, untamed lands, marveling at the towering trees that scraped the sky and the creatures that roamed the primeval forests. He found beauty in the raw, untamed world, a beauty his brethren seemed blind to. "Why do we only seek to control, Father?" Azar asked his father, Malik, a powerful Jinn known for his cunning and ruthlessness. They stood on the balcony of their crystal palace, overlooking a city teeming with Jinns engaged in various pursuits, some creating elaborate illusions, others battling for sport, and still others scheming for power. Malik chuckled, a dry, rasping sound. "Control is the way of our kind, Azar. We were given dominion over this world. Why shouldn't we use it? But at what cost?" Azar countered, gesturing to the scarred landscape surrounding the city, a testament to the Jinns' constant battles and reckless use of magic. "We are destroying the very thing we rule." Malik's eyes flashed with anger. "Do not question me, boy. You are young and foolish. You will learn that power is the only thing that matters." Azar, disheartened, turned away. He knew he could never make his father understand. He sought solace in the company of his friend, Alina, a Jinn with a gift for healing and a deep connection to the natural world. Alina lived on the outskirts of the city, in a grove of ancient trees. She used her powers to mend the wounds inflicted by the Jinn's carelessness, nurturing the land back to health. Azar often sought her counsel, finding comfort in her gentle wisdom. "Your heart is too soft for this world, Azar," Alina said one day, as they sat by a crystal-clear stream. "The Jinns are too focused on power to see the beauty around them." "Then what can be done?" Azar asked, his voice filled with despair. "Are we doomed to destroy ourselves and this world along with us?" Alina smiled sadly. "There is always hope, Azar. But it will require a great sacrifice." Meanwhile, in the heart of the Jinn city, a plot was brewing. A powerful and ambitious Jinn named Razak sought to overthrow Malik and seize control of the Jinn realm. He believed that Malik was weak and that his soft rule was leading the Jinns to ruin. Razak gathered his followers, promising them power and glory if they helped him dethrone Malik. He was a master manipulator, preying on the Jinns' desire for dominance and their fear of weakness. "Malik is a fool," Razak roared to his assembled followers. "He cares more for the trees and the animals than he does for our kind. He must be removed, and I will be the one to do it." The Jinns roared their approval, their eyes gleaming with ambition. Razak had successfully ignited their lust for power, and they were ready to follow him into battle. As Razak prepared his coup, Azar and Alina stumbled upon his plans. They had been exploring a hidden cave when they overheard Razak and his followers plotting Malik's downfall. "We must warn my father," Azar said, his voice filled with urgency. "Razak plans to attack him. But will he listen?" Alina asked, her brow furrowed with concern. "He has never heeded your warnings before." "We have to try," Azar said, his jaw set with determination. "The fate of our kind may depend on it." They rushed back to the city and confronted Malik with the news of Razak's treachery. But as Azar feared, Malik dismissed their warnings, convinced that Razak was no match for him. "Razak is a fool," Malik scoffed. "He would never dare challenge me." "Father, you underestimate him," Azar pleaded. "He has gathered many followers, and they are all fueled by ambition and greed." Malik remained unconvinced. He refused to believe that one of his own would betray him. That night, Razak launched his attack. He and his followers stormed the Crystal Palace, their eyes blazing with fury. The city erupted into chaos as the two factions of Jinns clashed in a fierce battle. Azar and Alina fought alongside Malik, using their powers to defend the palace. But Razak's forces were too strong, and they were slowly being overwhelmed. As the battle raged, Azar saw his father fall, struck down by Razak's magic. Grief and rage surged through him, and he charged at Razak, determined to avenge his father's death. But Razak was too powerful. He easily deflected Azar's attacks and prepared to deliver the final blow. Just as Razak was about to strike, Alina stepped in front of Azar, shielding him from the attack. Razak's magic struck her instead, and she collapsed to the ground, mortally wounded. Azar cried out in anguish, cradling Alina in his arms. Her eyes fluttered open, and she smiled weakly at him. "Remember what I said, Azar," she whispered. "There is always hope, but it will require a great sacrifice." With those words, she breathed her last. Azar's heart shattered. He had lost his friend, his confidant, the only one who understood his vision for a better world. Fueled by grief and rage, Azar rose to his feet. He unleashed the full extent of his powers, his eyes blazing with righteous fury. He fought with a ferocity that surprised even Razak, turning the tide of the battle. Finally, after a long and brutal struggle, Azar stood victorious over Razak's defeated forces. But the victory was bittersweet. The city was in ruins, and many Jinns lay dead. Azar knew that he could not rule the Jinns in the same way as his father or Razak. He had seen the destruction that their lust for power had wrought, and he knew that a new path was needed. He gathered the surviving Jinns and spoke to them of peace, of harmony with nature, of using their powers for good instead of for destruction. Some listened, their hearts touched by his words. Others remained skeptical, clinging to their old ways. But Azar persisted, leading by example. He used his powers to heal the land, to rebuild the city, to create a new era of peace and prosperity for the Jinns. And so, the reign of the Jinns continued, but with a new purpose, a new direction. They learned to live in harmony with the earth, respecting its beauty and protecting its resources. But their time was not to last. As the millennia passed, the earth changed. The climate shifted, the land masses moved, and new creatures emerged. The Jinns, beings of fire and magic, found themselves increasingly out of sync with the changing world. And then one day a new species appeared, humans. They were weak and vulnerable, but they were also adaptable and resourceful. They learned to use tools, to build shelters, to cultivate the land. And slowly but surely, they began to spread across the earth. The Jinns watched with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. They saw the potential for both good and evil in these new creatures. Some Jinns sought to help the humans, guiding them and teaching them the secrets of the land. Others sought to control them, to use them for their own purposes.